till I have my day in the sun.
We get to do all these cool opportunities, like we get to go hiking, we get to like go out and do all these like extreme adventure kind of things that a lot of people don't expect girls to be interested in.
What I like about Boy Scouts is being outside and being able to like get away from the city.
Now there's trouble ahead, but I wouldn't change a thing. Trouble aside, my strife. There are words unsaid, never rhymed or read. Fare thee well on the road of life.
I understood that when I go to this program, I'd be having fun, I'd be going outdoors, I'd be seeing different people from all around the country.
You really get to experience something that you never ever would get to experience anywhere else.
I really like activities like biking, and camping, and kayaking.
I love scouting because you always get to go outdoors, go camping, and have a lot of fun with your friends and family.
It's just an amazing experience.
It's been really fun.
Now there's trouble ahead, but I wouldn't change a thing. Trouble aside, my strife. There are words unsaid, never rhymed or read. Fare thee well on the road of life. Fare thee well, Godspeed and goodbye.
Good evening, Pathfinder District. This is Matthew Kennedy, your District Vice Chair and Virtual Roundtable Commissioner, and we are proud to welcome all of you to our October Virtual Roundtable. Obviously, we would much rather be meeting in person, but we are happy to be coming to you live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Periscope. So wherever you are joining us this evening, thank you for taking a few minutes out of your evening to talk with us and learn more about what we have in store for scouting here in our district and council-wide. We are, like I said, on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope, so if you would please take a moment to like and or share this video. We do appreciate the interaction. We love all the likes and loves that we can get. Also be sure to like and follow our pages or subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get all of the up-to-date alerts about what we have going on, any new broadcasts that we have coming out, and so forth. I'll have more information on why that's important in a little while, but for now, definitely like and subscribe to all of our pages. Also, if you would take a moment, if you're on Facebook or on YouTube, to mark comments down below to let us know that you are here. Just type in your name, your unit, and your position with that unit so we can use that to take attendance. We'll forward that on to our commissioner team so that they're able to keep track of who's here, who's not. It does count as roundtable attendance for all of those not awards that you may be working on. But more importantly, it's great just to know who are here to have fellowship and talk about scouting with this evening. We do have several visitors that will be joining us tonight. We will have Alan Wente coming in. We have Angie Adelsberger, our district chair, and then Tucker LaPrade as always, and we're going to be covering a number of different topics. One person who's normally with us for our virtual roundtables, Jared Kavanaugh, couldn't be with us tonight. He may be popping in as a visitor and watching, so Jared, if you're there, welcome and great to have you. But he did have a few notes that we wanted to make sure that we went over. It's information that we have been discussing already with COVID and with the pandemic and all the changes. Obviously, there have been a lot of adjustments made for advancement, not only for the Eagle rank, but for all ranks. And as a reminder, if you go to our district's page on the Crossroads of America website, and it's easy to get to. It's pathfinderbsa.org. That's all you have to type in. It will take you straight to that page, pathfinderbsa.org. If you go to that page, there will be a pair of links there that will take you to the BSA National FAQ, frequently asked questions, covering COVID-19 alterations and changes. And it will also be a link to the PowerPoint presentation that Jared had for our roundtable last month that details a lot more specifically some of the changes that are taking place, not only at the national level, but here at the council level as well. But there are three important changes that are still happening that we want to make sure that everybody's aware of, specifically at the troop level, and it has to do with the Eagle process, the project reviews, the boards of review, and extensions if that becomes necessary. Just as we are still doing our roundtables virtually for the time being, we do anticipate that we're going to be continuing to do virtual Eagle processing for the foreseeable future as well. Officially, we're saying through November 1st. That is probably going to be extended through the end of the year at this point. But if you have questions around this, I'm going to put these up on the screen for you here. If you have a scout that is in the process of beginning their Eagle project, these are the contacts that they need to reach out to in order to have that Eagle project review and be able to have it approved so that they can proceed and get their project completed. They do need to send a message to Mr. Steve Heath and Mr. Tony Lang. Their email addresses are here on the screen. Please send them whatever files that you need to submit to them as separate attachments, individual attachments to your email. But make sure you send it to both of these gentlemen. They will then schedule Eagle project reviews on an individual appointment basis. We are not doing project reviews live and in person on the first Thursday of the month at this time. They need to be scheduled in advance by appointment with these two gentlemen. So please make note of these email addresses. I will make sure that they are on our webpage as well. If they have completed their project and they are now at the stage of needing their board of review, again, those are being handled virtually. We are not doing in-person Eagle boards of review on the third Thursday of the month at this time. We're not doing them in person at all. They are being handled virtually, and they are scheduled individually by appointment. When you are ready to complete that process, you need to submit the Eagle rank application itself, the goals and ambitions worksheet, the entire project workbook, and any other applicable attachments to Mr. Tony Lang, and then to the Council's Eagle processing team. Again, the email addresses are listed there on the screen. Send them to both of those people. If you have too many attachments for the email to be able to handle, or if the file sizes are too large, we do encourage you to use Google Drive or Dropbox or OneDrive if you have Microsoft, or iCloud if you have Apple, whatever your cloud-based storage media of choice is that can be accessed publicly. You could use that as well and simply send the link to these two email addresses, and they can download files from there. So again, if you're looking for an Eagle board of review, they need to send emails to these two individuals. If you have an Eagle candidate who's coming up on their 18th birthday and they have been unable to complete their Eagle rank for reasons due to the pandemic, specifically around their project, that's usually the main holdup at this point. They're unable to do their project because of COVID restrictions. If that is still taking place, the person that you need to talk to is Jared Kavanaugh himself. Please contact Jared directly. His email address is on the screen. And be sure that the scout copies the unit leader for their troop. Both of those individuals need to receive the message. Jared will then walk you through the process from there as far as how to handle the extension, to get it granted, to get all the approvals that are necessary, the time length that they'll have to work on their projects, etc. But it's important to do that as soon as possible. Do not wait for your 18th birthday to get it done. Try to put it in advance as much as you can so that we can get all the proper approvals to be able to move forward. So those are the items that Jared had for everybody from an advancement and from a program standpoint. Again, his email address was on the screen. If you have any other further questions, I'm sure he would be happy to entertain those directly. Simply drop him a line and he will go over those further. Without further ado, though, we're going to move on to our first guest for this evening. We're going to talk about the different activities and program options that our district is going to have coming up in the near future. And for that, as always, it would not be a roundtable without the Alan Wente joining us. Alan, welcome to Roundtable. Good evening, sir. How are you tonight?
I am great. Thank you, Matthew, for that introduction. It's always good to be with you. And it was so good to see so many people at the Fall Camporee this past weekend. It was a lot of fun down at Randsburg for those that were able to make it. And there's my son in the background. Sorry. You might want to move, Dylan. Wow, that really throws you off. So, to start off, I'd like to welcome two brand new district volunteers that you may be hearing from in email. You may be seeing them around visiting units. Lisa Gruby, our beloved sweetheart, who has been in scouting ever since she was born, pretty much. She has signed on to be our district camping chair. So she will be promoting camp, kind of overseeing the overall day camp structure, and working with that camp director for our regional day camp this summer, and everything that has to do with camping. So welcome, Lisa. We're excited to have you on our team and everything that all of your experience you bring to it. We also have a brand new Ember advisor for the Orion Ember, and that is JT Bruin. He's a stranger to Pathfinder. He is a well-respected man, and so we are ecstatic to have him as our new Firecrafter advisor. So you'll be hearing from him very shortly too, especially if you're active in the Firecrafter program. Speaking of Firecrafter, a few weekends ago was the Fall Frenzy, where they did their elections for new officers, and we have a brand new Ember chief. His name is Isaac Thomas. Our beloved outgoing Ember chief of Marcus Beckman is now the management, so he's a flame chief, and so we wish him well in that role. But Isaac is going to be hosting a virtual Ember meeting this Sunday at 5 o'clock. We are going to get that Zoom link out, that Zoom invitation out to all unit leaders probably tonight or tomorrow, and so that way you can forward it on to your members. I know it's fall break, but Isaac is very eager to get our Ember back up and running after we had to shut down earlier this year for COVID reasons. And so look for that link and encourage all of your Firecrafters to join. I know we're still looking for a secretary treasurer and getting some activities off the ground. As I mentioned, last weekend was the Fall Camporee, and it was so good to see so many people there down at Randsburg. It was beautiful weather, even with the skunks and everything. Realizing that some people were displaced due to Monroe County and them limiting the number of people that could be at a gathering. So they had to really limit that registration. So the Spring Camporee, which is in a few weeks, and the Winter Camporee, their registration is already live. So if your troop is interested in going to the Camporees, sign up now, because we don't know what kind of county restrictions our camps are going to put on us. So go ahead, reserve spots now. Those links you can find them on the calendar at crossroadsbsa.org. Just look at the calendar, find the Western Section Camporees. It's also on our Facebook page as events. So it's very easy to find in two different places. The Spring Camporee, titled The Challenge, is November the 6th through the 8th at Camp Creekstein. It's going to be all of our fun scouting activities, such as pioneering, pitching tents in the dark, doing some shotgun and tomahawks and archery and fire building. They will be offering IOLS and Baloo for leaders. So if you're a recharter and you need to get a unit leader through Baloo or IOLS to get them on that charter, this is a great opportunity to do that at the Spring Camporee. The Winter Camporee is January 22nd through the 24th. Location still being finalized, but it's going to be local to us since we're the ones hosting it. It's going to be the Klondike Derby. So you'll be, your units in your patrols will be pushing around a sledge, with them being the musher dogs, and carrying around all the equipment they need for that day. There's going to be fun stations just like orienteering, first aid, a bunch of teamwork games. Of course, fire building. That's what's a camporee without fire building. Plus a bunch of fun and awards and everything of that nature. So that is January 22nd through 24th. It's going to be local, somewhere around here, and we hope everybody can come out and participate in those events. The last thing I have to mention, Matthew, is something that's pretty near and dear to my heart, and that is scouting for food. Would you believe, and I hope you do because this is true, that 1 in 6 families in central Indiana are suffering from some type of food shortage? 1 in 6 families. So that's probably at least 2, 3, 4 families in your unit, depending on the size of your unit, that are suffering with being able to get enough food to be comfortable and sustaining. That's where we as scouts can really start to pitch in and make a difference. Scouting for Food, November 7th through the 14th. So you can break it up into 2 weekends. You can do it anytime between November 7th and the 14th. Scouting for Food. All the food that your unit collects, you get a drop off at one of your local food banks. So it's not going to, if you want to take it down to Wheelers or Gleaners, that's great. If you want to keep it down in Johnson County, if you want to send it over here to Franklin Township or Perry Township food banks, absolutely do that. Support the families in your community. There are 2 spots to register for Scouting for Food. There is a Google form to fill out at the district level, and that just lets us know that you're interested. So that way we can make sure that neighborhoods are being hit and not being overlapped. Chris Crowell, our Scouting for Food chair, is managing that registration. And so his phone number is on that form, and I believe that form is on our Facebook page as well. If you need supplies for Scouting for Food, and even if you don't need supplies, but you are doing Scouting for Food, there's also a link on the council website. There is limited supplies right now. They're working on getting more supplies as far as bags and stickers and everything of that nature. But in order to get those and let people know you're interested in getting some of those bags and supplies, you need to go to the council website. As of late last week, I believe there's only 4 of our units that were signed up, and that's pretty disheartening. So I really encourage all of our units to really make a difference in their communities, and sign up for Scouting for Food November 7th through just a few hours on the 7th, a few hours on the 14th to pass out bags, pick up bags, and let's really pack those pantries before we start getting into the holiday season. Matthew, that's what I have, sir.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Alan. A couple of things that I do want to ask about and clarify. First of all, on the Scouting for Food, just to let everybody know, Alan is correct. The links for the flyer for our district participation, as well as the link for the Google form to do the unit commitment here at the district level, they are live on our district website, pathfinderbsa.org. If you go there, just scroll down, you'll see the links there. One thing I did want to clarify on the winter camporee, you mentioned that the spring camporee, the registration link was up and live, and that is obviously something that we want people to sign up for as soon as possible. On the winter camporee, when I was setting everything up, I noticed that registration link there goes live on November 22nd. Is that going to be changed and to let people sign up sooner, or are we holding off until November 22nd for registration on the winter camporee?
It should be live. I will double check. That may just be a check mark that we forgot to hit. So I'll double check that as soon as we get off here. It should be live.
Okay, so everybody out there, if you have gone to the registration link and it said that registration doesn't open until November 22nd, give us about 24 hours. We'll get that double checked. It should be set for you to start registering ASAP. So those are the questions that I had. Alan, will you be able to stick around? We'll do some Q&A here at the end.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Alan, we'll have you back in a second. Greatly appreciate it. Everybody out there, just as a reminder, because we're doing this as a live stream on Facebook, on YouTube specifically, if you have a comment or a question, if you have something that you would like to ask to one of the panelists here on our roundtable this month, please do leave comments on the platform where you are watching us, whether it's on Facebook or on YouTube. We do get those visible here on our end, and I'm happy to bring those in. We'll definitely discuss those as we get toward the end of our roundtable this evening. Or if we have a question that comes in and we can get to it right away, we'll also try to do that as well. So please make sure that you're giving us all of your comments and your questions. We would love to have this be a two-way conversation and discuss things that you want to go over this month. So we are going to go ahead and move on, though, to our next guest. We do have someone new for the virtual roundtables. It's been a while since she has been back with us, but I would like to welcome our district committee chairperson, Angela Adelsberger, is with us this evening. Welcome, Angie. How are you this evening?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for being here. And I know you've got a couple of very important pieces of information from our district committee meeting this past Thursday, one of which affects pretty much every unit, and that's going to be the rechartering process. But then you've also got some more information about our district. So please share with us what you've got. We can't wait to hear it.
So the first thing I want to say is thank you for everyone who is a volunteer within our district. We truly could not do anything without you guys helping. When I came into this position, I made a new org chart, and the org chart that I made is much more elaborate than the default one, and there are currently 25 unfilled positions in that org chart related to our district. If you know anyone who would like to or be a good person you think we should talk to about being a volunteer for our district, please let us know. We are in need of more help just to lighten the load for everyone. The second thing that I want to mention is the recharter. We're going to do recharter on 2 different locations and 2 different dates this year. The first one is November 12th from 6 to 8 at Hornet Park Community Center, which is in Beech Grove. And the second date is November 19th from 6 to 8 in Franklin, Indiana, at the Elks Lodge. We're hoping that we can have everyone sign up in advance so we know who's going to be where for which event. We're going to do a sign up, I can't remember which one off the top of my head, that should be going live within the next few days, we hope, for 20-minute spots for every unit that you're going to bring recharter information to us for. So if you have 3 units that you're bringing us recharter information for, sign up for 3 time slots. There should be plenty of time slots for everyone. If there's not, we'll get it figured out. We'll get more people to volunteer to be there to help with that process. The other thing that I want to say is really a big shout out and a thank you to the people who helped with the Franklin Township School Board meeting with them with the virtual call. You guys did a stellar job. Thank you so much. And from what I hear, Wood Badge training helped with all that. So if you haven't done Wood Badge, go do it. I'm signing up for next year. Don't know when, but that's all I got.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Angie. Just to clarify real quick on recharter. So obviously you said that we have sign-up dates that will be on Thursday, November the 12th, and Thursday, November the 19th. There will be a pre-registration for appointments for slots those 2 nights. That link will be coming out via email at a later date. If someone can't make one of those nights, how should they proceed? Who should they contact? What's the best way to handle that?
The best way to do that is if you have a unit commissioner, number 1, talk to them. Number 2, if you can't get a hold of them or if you don't know who your unit commissioner is or whatever that situation may be, call Tucker. Tucker's great to talk to. When in doubt, ask Tucker.
Words to live by. I think I have that T-shirt somewhere in my house.
I used to say ask Celia, but she's gone. She's moved on. She's doing other things. So now it's just go straight to Tucker.
Excellent. And with recharter, obviously there are a lot of moving parts, a lot of complicated, not necessarily complicated forms, but a lot of forms that we need to get signatures for. Obviously, reaching out to commissioners if they have questions. All of the forms that everyone will need are available on the Crossroads of America website, I'm assuming. Is that correct?
Yeah, and the Unit Key 3 should have gotten their email. I believe that one, I think, has went out already. And it shall have the registration link, the link to the website, as well as the special code for your unit to get into there to be able to access your unit's information.
We did have a question that just came in from Nathan Tompkins. I'm going to bring that on here real quick. What are the meetings for recharter for? I thought it was an online process. Can you get a little bit into the difference between the online rechartering process versus what's going to happen in that 20-minute slot when they get to either on the 12th or the 19th in Beech Grove or Franklin? Can you explain what the difference is there?
So when you do the online recharter information, you enter all that and make sure everyone is entered there. When you get to the meeting or your 20-minute slot, basically the unit commissioners or district volunteers who are involved in that recharter process are going to go through line by line in all your paperwork, and there's a big checklist that we need to make sure. Was your charter org rep signature there? Are all the people who need to be youth protection signed? Youth protection, all the little double checking to make sure everything's in process. So once we give that and we hand that off to the council and say, okay, it looks good, here you go. We don't want that to ever have to come back to us and us to have to reclose that loop again. The other thing that you're doing then is
applications.
if you are doing trying to do what we're going to talk about next, I believe, the $40 discount on this, you need to pay with a check, then don't pay online. So that's a little bit of a tweak in the situation that we're seeing this year between doing it online and filling out all the information and then actually getting the signatures on the form and handing that to the people in our district. So
and then also, as people are going through, you've got so when you do the online rechartering process, you'll have the actual paper application that prints out from doing that. In addition to that, and the few other forms that you'll have, if you have any new leaders that are joining, you need to make sure that you're submitting their paper application with payment with your recharter so that everything can seamlessly go to the council all at once.
With proof of youth protection and whatever position training as well, because that's one of the things that we really want to focus on is that if you're in a position, a direct contact or not even a direct contact, we want you trained for your position, if at all possible. Take the training online. Trust me, I've been through at least 4 different position trainings now online, and it's good information. If you do it online, you won't ever run into the situation that I ran into, which was doing it online and in class and not getting credit for the class stuff online and then having to do a whole plethora of extra training. So if you can do it online, would be my recommendation, coming from personal experience. The live stuff is fantastic. University of Scouting, I'm disappointed that we can't do it this year, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. And the information that you can get from in-person training is much different than online, and both have their benefits, but do your training, please.
Well, and to that point, at the end of 2020, going into 2021, at this point, in order for leaders to be able to recharter, all direct contact leaders, so that would be at the troop level, you're talking about scoutmasters and assistant scoutmasters, for packs, cub masters and assistants, den leaders and assistants, and then at the crew level, advisors and assistant advisors, all of direct contact positions now must be position-specific trained in order to recharter, and that applies to packs, crews, troops, and ships. Across the board, it is now all leaders in order to be able to get that done. So please make sure that you get your training taken care of. Clarissa Jones does have a question for us on recharter as well, if we can go and talk about this. Are units able to use scout funds that are on account at the scout office to take care of their recharter fees, even though we're doing it at these district level meetings? I'm assuming the answer is yes, correct?
I would guess, but again, guess who I'm going to ask?
Yeah, we'll double.
Yes.
We will double check that, but ultimately, if you have scout account funds that are on account with the council office, you are able to use those towards recharter. We're pretty sure. We'll make sure that there aren't any changes this year, but in years past, that has been something that you are able to do. So hopefully that answers that question. Angie, thank you so much for the information on recharter. We're going to have you come back here in a little bit to discuss some question and answer. If you're up for it, are you going to be able to stick around with us? Excellent. Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure having you here tonight. One other question that came in while we were going through that conversation from Matt Dexter. What was the date for the spring camporee? Just to reiterate, so the spring camporee that we're referring to was spring 2020, the one that was postponed due to COVID-19. The spring, in quotes, camporee is now the November spring camporee. The dates for that are November 6th through November 8th. That's the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So November 6th through November 8th. Those will be the dates for the spring camporee in November, which still sounds weird every time that I say it. So thank you so much for the question. Keep those questions coming in. It's fantastic getting your feedback and being able to answer things as we go along. We do have one more guest who's going to be joining us here tonight, and it wouldn't be a roundtable without having our illustrious, fantastic, fabulous district director joining us, and that would be Mr. Tucker LaPrade. Tucker, I'm going to go ahead and have you unmute yourself here real quick. Tucker, I know you've got a few things that you want to talk about, and one of them relates directly to the new program that was rolled out recently, as far as the rechartering fee, essentially the registration assistance that our council is providing to units across not only our district but the entire council. And we do have several questions that are already coming in through the chat around this. So I know you've got a couple of other announcements you want to do, so why don't we knock those out first, and then we're going to get into the meat of our conversation for today, which is the fee reduction for recharter this year.
Great. Thank you so much, Matt. And again, thank you to everything that you do. Thank you to all the leaders that are on the call with us tonight. I would like to echo what Angie said about the wonderful leaders in Franklin Township who, when we were having a difficulty communicating with the school board, courageously set up an appointment with our school administration in Franklin Township and came together to work out a great plan for communication about scouting programs in Franklin Township, and what an amazing example they are of how to work together for the good in a community. So hats off to you guys and to all our volunteers tonight. So I've got a couple things I'm really excited about. One is, did you guys know that coming up in December 15th, we have our 25th Governor's Luncheon for Scouting. This is a 25 years, I know, this is a celebration we have every year where we celebrate scouting in Central Indiana. And this year, we are going to be at a location that I never thought we could be at. Rather than a downtown hotel and a stuffy ballroom, we're going to be outdoors at Lucas Oil Stadium. So, if you are as excited about that as I am, and I hope you are, I encourage you to go to crossroadsbsa.org/govlunch. You can find out all about it. If you would like to be part of that wonderful event, but you feel you can't go to Lucas Oil, we are having lots of people that are hosting tables virtually with their unit and watching. It's just going to be a really, really exciting time. So lots of special guests coming as well. So I just encourage you to get involved and get the information on that, because that's going to be truly a community celebration of scouting you won't want to miss. On the service piece, I'm just so encouraged by all the talk of scouting for food. We've all seen the headlines. We know how important it is this year. And I would challenge those of you who are on the call that are perhaps Cub Scout leaders who may think, hey, scouting for food is something that I'm just not able to do this year. Many of you guys are having trunk or treats coming up in October and other events. Could you at one of those events have each scout bring a dried good as their ticket to get candy? I just think there's so much potential for us to help our community, and we ought to think about how we can do it and how we can knock down barriers to do this great thing for our community. Up next, I don't want us to miss out. We do have a blood drive. Speaking of wonderful service that Scouts can do, we do have a blood drive coming up at Camp Belzer. I posted that on our Facebook page. We'll continue to send you some updates on that. But please go to Camp Belzer. Sign up for a time if there's any left. We've got a lot of excitement around this, and our hope is to get 100 pints of blood to save many, many hundreds of lives here in Central Indiana and around the world. So we're really excited about that. As far as council activities coming up, if this were a in-person roundtable, I'm sure you all have some flyers on your table to include Wood Veg. Yes, Angie, I think I'm going to have to be right there with you for next year's course. I'm sure there's people in this room that will hold me to that, including MYLT, including there's a new merit badge partnership. We'll put some flyers out around that. And finally, the Bewitched Belzer Bash, which is coming up on the 24th of October. Of course, the really, really exciting thing, and I feel like I've buried the lead here, but I did want to get through some of those other things, is the wonderful news on recharter. If you guys don't know, and if you are a Key 3 member, you should have been receiving these emails. So if you're not, please let me know. But our wonderful council board, given all the financial hardships that families across our council have been having this year, voted to move some money into an account to help all Cub Scout packs recharter this year. So what it is that at the rechartering time, fees would typically be $78 per youth scout, which we know is a hard thing for many families this year. So instead, our board designated literally hundreds of thousands of dollars to help all families in Central Indiana, where each Cub Scout pack who applies for this can take $40 off per scout, so that the fees are only $38. So it's really a huge thing. It's a very generous thing that our board has done, and I'm just very, very grateful for. I think my friend Andy in the chat definitely hit on some of those things, and I would like to say that the requirements to apply for this money, I think I can say without any mendacity, the requirements to apply for this money are things that every Cub Scout pack on this call are doing. It's things like sell popcorn. It's things like go to summer camp. It's things like advance your scouts, have your scouts earn their rank badges for the year. All of our packs on this phone on this call are doing this. And if there are any requirements that you feel like you may have a hard time with, I'm sure we could have a outside conversation about that. I know that one of my friends who may or may not be on this call, I can't remember at this point, texted me and asked, hey, this is great, how do we sign up for it? So if you got your recharter email, as I did, there is a link inside your recharter email, and it takes you to a form where you can commit to this. If you like, you can also print out that form and bring it with you to the rechartering nights that Angie spoke about. So I think Kevin Layton just asked, where can we find this application? Again, Kevin, that's in the email that you should have received with your recharter code. So if you can't find your recharter code, if you didn't get that email and you're a Key 3 member of a Cub Scout pack, as Kevin is, please let me know and I'll send it to you, and then we can post that online form to apply for these extra funds as well to our Facebook page. So those are the big, exciting things tonight. I don't think I've ever been able to announce something so exciting as $40 per scout before. So that's really, really amazing.
Well, and it is definitely a great thing. You know, in this time of COVID, there are families out there who are still struggling with, economic impact, with different financial situations. I know of several families that are still struggling through unemployment with one or both breadwinners within their household. So it is absolutely a fantastic thing, but there are questions that are coming in, and there are a lot of moving parts to this, and obviously it impacts differently at the pack versus troop level, etc. So I want to get into a few of these questions that came in, if you don't mind.
That's great.
One thing that I do want to clarify, and Angie mentioned it, and Tucker, you did mention it as well. All units at this point should have received their recharter access information. For the online rechartering system, all units should have received the login codes to be able to access that system. It went out to every unit's Key 3 on October the 2nd. If you have not received it, check your spam. If you still haven't found it, because I know there are a couple of units where it may have gotten missed, that I've heard about, and we've gotten them the codes after the fact, contact Tucker. We will get those codes to you, but you should have received them by now. So, Tucker, without further ado, the questions that came in, as you mentioned, the $40 discount, there's an application for that. The application is the form that is in that link That form has to be signed and turned in with recharter by what date?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question. One of the requirements is that you do turn in your recharter paperwork by December 1. So we've got, that's why those wonderful appointments that Angie set up for us are so great. And I love it that Angie set this up as a unit leader rather than me, because she had the wonderful idea to actually have times to sign up for, so that you don't just come to the beginning and wait in a 2-hour line. So we're really, really excited about that.
I'm going to jump around on these questions because they're all important, but there's one here that kind of answers things in a general, that the answer will kind of be a general answer that may cover some others. This one is from Nathan Tompkins, and the question is, it seems like it is a promise to do these things. What if you don't meet all of these requirements, i.e. you don't fulfill that promise by the end of the year? And I think what he's referring to is attend Belzer Day Camp with a requirement, or with a goal of having 50% participation, or participate in the Popcorn Fundraiser in 2021 with a goal of 50% participation. What is what happens if a unit does not meet that 50% goal?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. And again, let me be as clear as I can be. And I think Nathan Young, who is our Director of Field Service, was on this call at least a little bit ago. And so if I speak out of turn, you'll know that he can correct me. But we are not not going to be the police on this, right? We expect. With apologies to Nathan Tompkins, who is a policeman, sorry. We expect that our units are going to do their best to fulfill their end of the bargain, which is really nothing more than putting on a great program. And so if you set out to have 50% of your kids sell popcorn and, only 49% sell popcorn, or whatever it may be, we know at the end of the day you're doing your best to put on a fantastic program. Saw that comment, Nathan. Same with the same with the day camp. The same with the advancement. Think about this year. So many of our plans that we had were just thrown for a loop. And so I think if any of us know anything, we know that the best laid plans of mice and men, as the poet says, are quickly gone awry. So this is sort of a do your best kind of thing.
And I think, we also have to remember that there are, there are degrees of not hitting those goals. I think if you have a pack of, let's say that you have 30 scouts in your pack, or you have 30 scouts in your troop, and 50% would be 15, there's a vast difference between committing to sell popcorn and having 14 participate instead of 15 versus 1 participate instead of 15. That's where the do your best will come in. If it is apparent that someone has done their best, then you really have put your best effort forward and really done your utmost to embrace the programs, embrace the requirements that are being asked. That's where I think there will be some, there will be an eye towards, not leniency, but an eye towards inclusion, when it comes to that. So do your best. I think it'll take care of a lot of those questions. Andy Rusniak has a very long one, so everybody bear with us. But ultimately it comes down to, and Andy's now blocking my face, which might be an improvement for this stream. So looking at the pack requirements specifically, and these relate also to a troop one, participate in the 2021 day camp ran at Belzer and throughout the council with a goal of 50% of your unit scouts attending. Does Pathfinder District Day Camp count towards this? 5-second
Yes.
answer, yes or no. Yes, it does. Will adventure camps count towards that requirement?
Yes.
There you go. So any camping experience at the pack level is covered. It doesn't specifically have to be Belzer. It does not specifically have to be a day camp. It just has to be a camp for your scouts throughout the council. District day camp is included. How will the goal be tracked versus attendance? Like, is that a number that is readily available to the council? Is it something that our units can see? I mean, obviously we know how many people go, but how is the council tracking this? Do you have some information on that?
Yeah, I do. We do track what percentage of each unit goes to camp. It's part of a national camping report that we submit to the National Council every year. It's really easy to track. You just number of kids that go to camp divided by number of kids in your unit. And obviously, I mean, again, we trust and love our units here, and our just. This was not done to create a gotcha situation. This was done to create a safety net for our parents. So if, for example, you have a pack of 40 and 20 of your Cub Scouts cross over into Boy Scouts, we're not expecting 20 to go to summer camp, if that makes sense, or whatever that would be. So just... I don't know. Take these in the spirit that they're written. That we want you to strive to put on an amazing program for your units. At the end of the day, this was all about retention. We want to try and plant our flag in the sand to say we know that in the Crossroads of America Council, sometimes we have a problem with retention. Right? We're great typically at getting scouts in the door, but a lot of times we have a hard time keeping them. So we solve that, as I think as Angie, our district chair, would say, by putting on a great program for our scouts. And hopefully on the council, we can do our part by solving that by helping you guys maybe cover the cost of that program.
Absolutely. Another question that came in, it was part of Andy's large question there. As we're looking at the Friends of Scouting program in 2021, because one of the requirements at both the pack and troop levels when it came to this fee assistance is that the unit has to secure a presentation date for Family Friends of Scouting by December 15th, 2020. Now, please note, and I'll go ahead and answer this other side question, that's securing the date. Your presentation does not have to take place by December 15th. We simply, as a district, have to have it on our calendar as to when the presentation is going to take place. But the question that Andy has is a pretty good one. How will Friends of Scouting be conducted this year given COVID? His example being that their Blue and Gold and Pinewood may or may not be in-person events for their unit, depending on what chartering organizations have as far as guidelines and what the units are comfortable doing. Do you have any insights on how, as a district, we might be handling Friends of Scouting this year when it comes to those presentations?
Yeah, that's a great question, Andy. Thank you for asking that. Obviously, a lot of us are thinking about that, not just for Friends of Scouting, but for all of our activities that typically take place in February and March. The first thought that I would throw out there, Andy, that I'm actually super excited about, I kind of alluded to this in the beginning. We have, if you would like to knock out your Friends of Scouting presentation early, we have this great opportunity called the Governor's Luncheon for Scouting on December 15th. What a wonderful way for your unit to participate in that, and we hope you do, by the way, than to host a watch party, or maybe everybody is watching it during the day, and then that is the opportunity for families during that program to pledge their support for the following calendar year. We could kind of talk through how that might work offline, but logistically, but that would just be a fantastic opportunity to participate in with the leaders of Central Indiana in that program. There are other units who have during the pandemic, who did a Friends of Scouting presentation virtually over Zoom. No, it's not the easiest, it's not the greatest, but can you do it? Sure. So we're going to try to have that presentation scheduled. Should that be changed due to COVID-19, then we'll work individually to set something up that meets the needs of your unit.
And I think another good thing that we can mention from a district perspective is, as Angie was mentioning earlier, we are looking for more volunteers at the district level to help out with certain tasks. Friends of Scouting Chair is one of the positions that we currently have available, and it's a position that I have done in the past. It is something that requires a lot of attention to detail, but it is a position that, for somebody who enjoys public speaking or enjoys organizing groups of presenters, that's a question that ultimately can be answered by that person as far as what their team is going to feel comfortable doing. Another option, in addition to the governor's luncheon virtually, which I hadn't even thought of, that's a fantastic idea, Tucker. Another option would be to do a video presentation of a Friends of Scouting, a Friends of Scouting presenter, and then the unit simply hands out the information from there. If it's an issue that we're uncomfortable having someone come in to do it, that's another workaround. There are a lot of different ways that we can approach this, and I know as a district committee we're happy to work with all units to make sure that presentation can take place. So that was an excellent question. Thank you so much for that one, Andy. Most of the other questions that have come in we've already addressed. So Tucker, thank you so much for that. I actually want to go ahead and bring everybody back in. So Alan, Angie, I'm going to have the two of you join Tucker and I as well, just for any final questions. So everybody out there, we're approaching the 8 o'clock hour. We are going to try to keep this to an hour tonight, just so we're not taking up too much of all of your time. But if you have any further questions for any of the four of us or anyone at the district or council level, please be sure to put them in the chat, and we will address those here momentarily. We did have a question come in a little bit earlier. Angie, this one's going to be for you. It's from Nat Ridge. Just to follow up on the recharter information, what was the date, location for the Beech Grove recharter turn-in? So can you repeat both events, but specifically the Beech Grove one?
In Beech Grove, it'll be at the Hornet Park Community Center, which is basically in front of the high school. It's attached to one of the elementary schools, and it's November 12th from 6 to 8. And the one in Franklin is at the Elk Lodge, and it's November 19th from 6 to 8.
So November 12th in Beech Grove, November 19th at the Elks Lodge in Franklin. Both are 6 to 8 p.m. Excellent.
Please sign up. Please, we'll get that link active within the next day or so everyone can sign up, so we don't have 30 people waiting in line. I don't like waiting in line, and I don't want you to have to wait in line either. So
we've definitely had that line at district roundtables before on recharter nights. So hopefully this will make it a little bit easier for everybody. Question that came in from Charlie Walters, and Tucker, I'm going to pitch this one to you, because I think this is not only Friends of Scouting, but this has to do with the fee reduction that we were talking about. Can an individual unit hold their own Friends of Scouting presentation, their family Friends of Scouting presentation? Can the unit do it on their own?
Yeah, I think that just depends on whether the unit has a trained presenter. I know there's a lot of units out there that do have a wonderful presenter in their unit, and they hold their own presentation, and they get all the materials, and they just do wonderful and fantastic. Would I give this to a new DIN leader that has never done Friends of Scouting before and may have no idea what it is, and just hand them off the materials and say, go have fun? No, probably not. But Charlie, I know in a unit with as storied a history as yours, I'm sure you probably have lots of wonderful presenters, and Angie would probably like a lot of them on our district team as well. So just put that bug in your ear.
And I think that's an important key to make. And Charlie, to your point, I have done my own unit's Friends of Scouting presentation before. It's something that I'm comfortable doing, and it is something that I support. But I also do the presentations for other units. So I would ask if anyone out there is thinking of doing the presentation for their own unit, do volunteer to do one or two other units as well. As someone who has done more than 30 of those presentations in 1 year, the more people that we can have do those, the happier everyone else will be. So thank you so much for your question, though. I think that's fantastic. A comment that came in that's going to lead to a question that ultimately Angie and I are going to answer here, but this is from Nathan. Thank you all. I like this type of roundtable. No drive time, just sitting at home, and still just as productive. I do want to thank everyone for being here with us virtually. This has been an experiment that we didn't necessarily think that we were going to begin when we did it back in April. Circumstances kind of drove the mandate that we had to go to virtual, but we have been seeing a lot of good feedback from other scouters from across the district, whether it be for the lack of drive time. It could also be there are units that meet on Thursday nights traditionally that may not be able to make it to a live in-person roundtable on Thursday nights. The fact that it's recorded so that people can go back and see it in future viewings. There are a lot of pros to this. There are also a few things that we miss from our traditional roundtable format. The in-person camaraderie, the ability to network, to talk to people face-to-face. We understand that those are some things that we've lost. But Angie, I want to bring you into this because I know at the district committee last week we had some conversation about what the future of roundtable was going to be for the district. Obviously, we're virtual for now out of necessity in many respects. But are we looking at possibly keeping this virtual moving forward, or what is our vision that we're looking at here?
I'd say that I prefer the virtual roundtables. Personally, I enjoy doing it from the comfort of my own home. I enjoy being able to go back and look at things. The camaraderie is missing. Being able to hand out awards in person, that's missing too. We're doing those more on a unit basis now for people who are getting awards that are district sort of awards, and we're going and trying to interface with those people in person, so that in-person touch is still there. I would say probably at least for the foreseeable future, we will continue to do this virtually. It's easier in some points. The payoffs and the ups and downs, I would say the virtual right now is outweighing the in-person with what we're currently doing. I personally want to say thank you, Matthew, for running this and making it such a very well put together thing, because it takes talent to do this, and you are making it look so seamless, and we would be struggling without you.
Well, thank you very much for the compliment. It is part of what I do for a living, so it works well that I happen to be in the communications position that I am in, and now I guess officially am the virtual roundtable commissioner. I get somebody said that I was already doing the job, so I may as well put the paperwork in for it. But this also does lead to another point that we were talking about, not only in possibly keeping roundtables virtual, for the foreseeable future, but also we may not be doing them regularly every month on the second Thursday of the month. Can you talk a little bit about, maybe we might switch to more of an as-needed kind of basis, a more irregular schedule? Can you kind of talk to the vision there?
Yeah, I would say that we don't want to just have roundtable to have roundtable. I don't think it's productive. I am more than happy to do this once a month if we need it. But if we don't need it, we might end up skipping a few months. And of course, we'll put out there that there's no roundtable this month for whatever reason. One of the positions that I would like to see volunteer-wise, just because of the load that you currently do, is to have someone volunteer to put together a newsletter. As a district, we need that to go out, but with everyone's current workload, we're begging for volunteers. So I would say that, yes, we will continue to have them on a monthly basis, but there might be some months that we skip if we don't have anything to tell. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I hate having meetings just for the same just to have a meeting. It's not productive. I don't want to watch an hour's worth of video that's not going to have anything in it. So
I do enjoy seeing the Alan's face on a regular basis, but that's separate.
Yes, I love seeing your guys' faces, and it's nothing that I wouldn't want to miss just to see your faces. But I can video chat with you in person if there's something we need to discuss.
And there is also a flip side to that coin. You know, there may be months that we skip. Right now, especially with all of the changes that have taken place because of the pandemic and all of the different things that council is working on right now to, continue to invigorate scouting and to help drive recruitment, to drive membership and to drive camp, to drive fundraising. There may be times that we need to do more than one of these a month. There may be more content that we need to get to. So I think that might be a question ultimately that we ask to all of you who are out there right now. We're not looking to do Roundtable for our own benefit necessarily. This is something that we do want to provide as a service to all of you out there, our scouters, our scouts, our scout families, the units. This is something that we want to be a useful tool for you. So if you have feedback as to different ways that we can improve this, possibly increasing frequency, decreasing frequency, as needed basis, keep it on a set schedule, please let us know your thoughts and feelings. We would love to take that into account as well as we get to plan this out. I do want to ask Alan a question real quick, and this is a softball, Mr. SPL, and you now know exactly where I'm going with this. We keep talking about this mystical program called Wood Badge. We've mentioned it several times during Roundtable tonight, but I seem to remember that there weren't any Wood Badge courses this year. Can you give us a little bit of an update as to what's happening in Wood Badge and the fact that there may be some registration available for 2021 courses?
Wow, man! If I can't hit this one out of the park, then I don't deserve to be in this position. Absolutely. So, unfortunately, the 2020 courses, both the spring course and the fall course, were not able to be run as they normally are. And so registration is already open for the 2021 courses. The spring course is now a early fall course, a late summer course, early fall course, just to give as much time as possible to get out of this pandemic. And then the traditional fall course is 1 weekend in late September and then 1 weekend in October. And of course, I don't have those dates right in front of me. But if you were signed up for the 2020, you should have gotten an email or a phone call recently just asking, pretty much you're going to be rolled over unless you tell us not to. So if those, and then so it shouldn't be that much lifting on you. You already had a credit with the council for that course, and we would just roll you over with your permission. And so hopefully that is seamless. I think the fall course already had 21 people on the registration, so spaces are already starting to get limited in those courses. So if Wood Badge training is one of those things on your bucket list, which it absolutely should be for every Cub Scout leader, every Boy Scout leader, every crew leader, every ship captain or whatever ship advisor, absolutely everybody should go to Wood Badge. The max is 48 per course, and both of our courses this far out, a year out, are already halfway full. So let's fill up make sure you get your spot is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a brand new program this year. So the curriculum is all new, and it's fun, exciting, it's engaging. It's only 5 days versus the 6 days. So it's a 1 3-day weekend and then 1 2-day weekend. So it's much easier on your work vacation schedule. Absolutely, everybody should take Wood Badge.
And I want to echo that as someone who strongly believes in the Wood Badge program as well. If you have been through Wood Badge, recommend someone from your unit to go this coming year. If you have never been to Wood Badge, consider it for yourself. It's a fantastic program, not just for scouting, but for your personal life, for your business life, for your spiritual life. It impacts leadership everywhere that you have an impact, not just within scouting. One other thing that I would say, in addition to looking to the future courses, if you know of someone who went through Wood Badge in 2019, they are coming up on a deadline in the somewhere between the very, very, very near future and the somewhat near future. to finish their tickets, and if you've been through Wood Badge, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Reach out to those scouters that you know in your units and follow up with them with the following sentence: "Hey, how's your ticket going?" I'm sure that they will appreciate the feedback, and I'm just saying that half in jest. But definitely follow up with those scouters. They can use all the support that they can get right now. So we haven't gotten a lot of other questions coming in. I do want to share, Tucker, just for your edification, Nathan Yun said, "Nicely done, Pathfinder. Keep inspiring our families." So there's your evidence. Nathan was still here. He did hear all of your words. Nathan, thank you so much for joining from the council office. We do appreciate it. And we do have other people commenting that they would like to keep Virtual Roundtable. Brian Holtz echoing the comment that this, virtual is fabulous, and that they would like to keep a virtual option along with in-person. Should we go back to that? That is something that we will definitely look into. Technology is going to be our limitation there, because internet bandwidth at certain locations that we may have met before is not the best thing in the world. But we'll definitely look at that. Yeah, go ahead.
And Matthew, if I could, so one thing we are talking about over in the activities committee is maybe doing like a quarterly networking event for our district leaders, unit leaders, and district volunteers, just to get that face-to-face and share ideas in a safe environment. So not doing the monthly roundtable, but maybe once a quarter getting together, and maybe a weekend, like a Sunday night, a Saturday night, a Friday night, or sometime during the week. But so look for more information. They're not fully flushed out yet, but we are looking at there is a value in conversations and how does your unit do this? How do your unit do that in a social environment?
Excellent. We did have one final question come in. I'm going to open this one up to the group because I don't know the answer to this off the top of my head. Hopefully somebody does. Charlie Walters is asking, for NYLT, are there going to be 3 courses in 2021? I know for a fact there is spring. I don't know the answer to that question beyond that. Does anybody know off the top of their head if we're doing 3 for next year? If not, we'll get the answer.
I know that they are planning a spring, a summer, and a fall.
Yes, and those.
And I can say that they are definitely planning those, but we'll have to see how everything shakes out.
Angie, I know you're on your computer right now. What's the data that you're looking at?
April 9 through 11, April 23 through 25, June 13 through 19, and September 10, 12 through 12. I'll put it in the comments so I don't have to type it out.
We will add it into the comments for you. 3 courses is what we have for the plan.
And Tucker got his popcorn.
Tucker, I had to mute you here real quick. Okay, Tucker, now you're unmuted. We were getting a lot of crumplage of bag in the sound there, but what do you got for us?
Hey, I just wanted to remind everybody, there's 3 more weeks of selling popcorn. If you haven't bought popcorn, I have about, I'd say 20 boxes still in my house as a popcorn share for a Cub Scout pack. So I've got 3 kids that would love to sell it to you. So go out there tomorrow, buy your popcorn, and don't forget, you can order chocolate tomorrow online in the tin. Everybody wants that.
Well, and even a step beyond that, tomorrow they are starting a holiday promotion. Specifically, it's not necessarily a promotion. It's just new product that they're adding in. We are going to have a peppermint bark option added for online sales, a frosted snowflake-shaped pretzel option added in for online sales, and then, as Tucker mentioned, the chocolate collection has been there, but the tin is coming back in starting tomorrow and running through October 26th. So those popcorn items are there. I'm sure Misty would think less of me if I had not mentioned that this evening. Definitely continue to help with the Trails End fundraiser as we approach the end of that sale come the end of this month. Those are all the questions and comments that we've got in the chat for tonight. So unless anybody else here has anything to say, I want to personally thank Tucker LaPrade, Angie Adelsberger, the Alan Wente, for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure to have you. And more importantly, all of you who are out there in Pathfinder District who joined us and watched our live presentation this evening. For those of you who are watching after the fact and watching the recorded version, thank you for taking about an hour and 10 minutes of your time to go through the presentation tonight as well. But for the month of October, that's all that we've got. So thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful October. And according to Matthew Phillips, fear the beards. We will see you all next month. Thank you so much. Have a great night.